Good morning and welcome to the Morning Breath live stream. My name is Jeremy Tinnell, systems designer and coherence coach. And today we're going to examine what coherence is. What exactly is coherence? It's a big word. I use it a lot. But what does it mean? So this week we slowed things down. We created a sequence, right? We talked about activation and your awareness of that activation. And we talked about how to cultivate a pause in the midst of that, how to lean into the space in between stimulus and response. And we talked about how we do that with breath, that when we take in a breath, there's a pause and then we exhale. And that breath can be the mechanism for that, which leads us to the third element here, which is interruption. How do we interrupt the patterns in our life? Because those patterns often go unchecked. They're old programs that maybe don't serve us any longer. And yesterday we talked about how breath is that element of interruption, how it can be used as the mechanism towards shifting our awareness, our response in a different direction. So today, we're going to talk about what happens when that sequence is utilized in your life, when you put it into practice. Because you're not lacking effort, you're lacking alignment. Coherence is often misunderstood. Many are under the impression that it has something to do with calm or relaxing, or perhaps being unbothered by the things that are in your life that might stimulate a response. But that's not what coherence is at all. Coherence is when your systems are working together. Your body, your thoughts, your emotions, and actions. Not in perfection. Perfection is not the goal, but in alignment. You can be under pressure and still be coherent. You can be stressed and still be coherent. You can be angry and still be coherent. In fact, in those heightened emotional states, that's when coherence is most effective. You've probably experienced coherence before, actually. It feels like a sense of flow in the moment. Can you recall a moment perhaps when that felt real for you? That's coherence. And it can be cultivated. It doesn't have to happen just accidentally. Most of the time, we're not coherent at all. We live divided, thinking one thing and feeling another, doing something other than what we want or what we intend. Saying words like, I'm good, I'm fine, everything's fine, while our body is tense and our breath is shallow and our mind is racing. That's incoherence. You know incoherence. Moving in one direction with your choices, but emotionally, intuitively knowing that it's the wrong direction. That's incoherent. And incoherence creates confusion and frustration and fragmentation within. And outside, in our relationships, it creates miscommunication, unpredictable behavior, and a loss of trust. This way of living affects every system we're a part of. It affects our families, our workplaces, our friends. It affects the way that people perceive us as we walk down the street, our first impressions. It affects us because it permeates us. Incoherence is the vibration in which you are resonating as you move down the street. And you could be moving towards an aligned, coherent way of living. So think of it this way. You're in a difficult conversation. Let's recall one, maybe with your boss or with your partner or or with a friend, or with your parents. And you can feel the activation welling up inside you. But this time, you notice it. You pause, breathe in. You begin to engage the breath. And instead of reacting, you just stay in that pause. You can still intake information. You can still hear. But your voice begins to steady. Your thinking begins to align. Maybe you begin to inquire, ask some questions. Wait a minute. Why am I feeling so activated about this conversation? Your response becomes far more intentional. And the situation didn't disappear. The pressure doesn't go away, but you didn't fragment it. That's coherence. And coherence is not a single action. It's the result of engaging the sequence that we've discussed this week. Awareness of your activation, leaning into the pause, interrupting the pattern, engaging the breath. And by moving through that cycle, you find coherence. You align with coherence. This is all working together in real time, and not towards perfection, but through consistency, so outcomes change in your life. From a systems perspective, coherence is what is called synchronicity. It's when different parts of the system begin to receive the same signal, they begin to respond in alignment, and they move in the same direction. And the system becomes far more effective, far more efficient, more stable, and adaptive. When coherence is present within a system, whether it's internally or externally, there is less internal noise, clear signal, and better decision making. But when coherence is absent, the system conflicts with itself, there is chaos, and the conflict shows up in every aspect of the system. And you can feel it. You can feel it within yourself. You can feel it within your work. You can feel it within your home. You can feel it within your community. You can feel the incoherence that we're living in right now in this society. That's incoherence. The system is not in alignment. There is no synchronicity. We are not breathing together. See, coherence is not just personal, it is relational. And that is systems. Systems is how things relate and interact and interconnect together. How the aspects of your body work together. How the aspects of your household, of your business, work together. That's a system. And coherent individuals, people who lean into the practice, they stabilize systems. They become coherent nodes within the system that radiate out. This is my dissertation research. And it's very clear that this isn't just theoretical. This is real. Incoherent individuals amplify instability. You feel it, maybe you participate in it. But they're not doing it because of intention necessarily. Most people don't intend to sow chaos. They are doing it because that's how they show up under pressure. And there is an enormous amount of pressure under all of us in the world today. This is not something you master in a week. It's something that you practice ongoingly. That's why we're here. Moment by moment, noticing the activation, leaning into the space, interrupting the pattern, utilizing your breath, engaging with it, and then returning to alignment again and again. For your journals today, I want you to find some time and I want you to sit down and I want you to explore that feeling of what it is to be aligned. I want you to lean into that moment when you felt that flow. How does that feel? How do you think? How does it react? Break it down. And then let's dive into the other side, right? I want you to grab hold of that moment of coherence that you've experienced, that moment of flow, when things are just in alignment. You've had that moment. And then, after you explore it, after you remember what it felt like, what you were thinking, how you acted, I want you to then examine incoherence within your life. What are the things that you're participating in or doing that cultivate that incoherence? What habits, practices, or addictions with a little a, maybe with a big A, are you participating in that are not serving you? So let's practice. Let's get into our breath today. I want you to find yourself a comfortable seat. Move your hips back and forth, roll your shoulders back. And we practice breath because how do you know? How do you know how to do it in the moment when you're activated if your body doesn't already know the process? So you've been activated, you're aware of it, you're moving towards an eruption. The first step is an inhale. Exhale with a sigh. Let your shoulders drop. Inhale. Exhale with a sigh. Let your face drop. Let's put our hands over our heart. Let's target the cognitive center of our heart with the cognitive center of our brain. Let's breathe in. Let's breathe out. And as we go, I want you to create a gratitude list in your mind. Breathe in. Even if you don't feel thankful in this moment, begin the list small and spiral outward. I am thankful for being here. I am thankful for the day. Let it spiral out. And your heart will respond, and you will align. All right, we're going to spend 5 minutes in breath. When your mind wanders, come back to your list of gratitude and come back to your breath. I'm thankful for the sunrise. I'm thankful for the positive relationships in my life. I am thankful for the challenging relationships in my life. I am thankful for the opportunity of growth. I am thankful that this life has a purpose. I am thankful to be on the path to find it. I am thankful to be here with you. Stay with it. You're doing great. Come back to breath. Come back to gratitude. Let's breathe in, out with a sigh. One more time. Coherence takes practice. If you're going to find it in your life, then you're going to have to practice it in your life. I'm fairly convinced that we are living in a moment of time that is calling all of us to rise. Humanity and what we create is accelerating at an incredible pace. And it feels incoherent because it is. If coherent individuals, coherent nodes within the system, don't begin to show up, the instability will end up being maximized and utilized by others who are in a position to be able to manipulate it. It's perhaps been that way for a long time. You are the change. I am the change. We are the change. The world is always transforming, constantly. You can't stop it. There is no stopping it. Go out and sit with a flower for a while. Watch it open up in the morning. Watch it reach for the sun through the day, and watch it close back up at night. After a few days, watch it wilt. Watch the seed pods spread as it propagates its life, and watch it die away. There's no such thing as stagnation in this world. Entropy moves in loops, not in linear paths, as we've been told. Become that coherent node. I appreciate your time this week. Thank you for being here. And I will see you Monday at 5:30 a.m.